Okay, part two. We need to do our footings for the 10-inch walls. So I'm going to go back into the same thing here with a linear measurement. And for my label, I want to go footing 1 foot 10. And I'm going to change the colors on these. Whatever you want to pick, you know. And change my font, just so that I can see them, that they're different, okay? Now my units is still going to be a depth of 8 inches, okay? All right, and so with this footing here, I stopped it on the inside, so I can go outside corner to outside corner there, okay? And then I've got this little short one right down here that I basically need to take from this point to here. And those were all of the 10-inch footings, okay? And so now I look down here in my markups list, and in case you haven't figured it out yet, if you're not seeing that, you can, it may be like, hidden. You can pull it up. And I got the label, the colors, and the size. Okay, so let's do a file save. Now, just like in AutoCAD uses layers, well, Bluebeam does also. And so over here, let's go layers. And I want to add a new layer. I'm going to go after. And I'm going to call it footings. Okay, so now then let's come back over to my drawing here. And I'm going to right click and go select all. And then I want to zoom in on one of the dots right there, to hover over it till it selects it, and right click again and change it to the footings layer. Okay, so that put all of my footings on the footing layer. And next we're gonna do our walls next, and we're gonna do slabs. So let's go ahead and create 2 new layers. And you call them foundation walls, whatever. When you're working through a project, you're going to be a little more descriptive of what we're doing here. And let's go with slab. Okay, so now then I can turn off visibility right here in my footings so that stuff's not in my way. I'm going to go to my walls, and I'm going to right click it and make it the markup layer. So everything that I do now, markup wise, will go on that layer. And before I go to slab, I'll want to make that change. Okay, so let's see here. Looking at my notes. Okay, so now my walls are 7 foot 10 inches tall, and they're 8 inches thick, with the exception of the 2 10-inch thick walls. So we're going to go with another linear length measurement, and I'm going to do my wall 7 foot 10 by 8 inches, and I'm going to go with a different color. So I'm going to be real funky and go with green on these. And for my units, we'll go with the 7 foot 10 for the height of the wall. And that's going to give me an accurate area square footage of my wall surface, one side of my wall surface. Okay. All right. And so now, just with the walls, just like with the footings, we don't want to pick up the corners twice. So you got to pay attention when you're doing it. And so that one we went outside to outside. So here we'll go inside to inside. Okay. And then this one will need to be an outside to outside. So I'm just kind of, looking at my point here and coming across and get a snap there. And you can see here, it makes it really hard to pick that pick point, but you got to be real careful with it. I guess we could do the highlight thing there. That'll make it easier. And here, I'll go ahead and go inside to outside. And this one, I can go inside to outside here. You get the idea, right? You can just kind of cruise along. That goes to outside. So I'll have to go inside here. And with this one, because we got a grade beam at that corner there, I'll need to get a projected point there. And then we got that 10-inch wall coming in right there. So, hey, it kind of depends on how you are going to do it with your grade beam situation. So I'm going to go ahead and go with 10'6". Okay. And then here, we'll go inside to inside. I know this is probably kind of boring to watch me, go around and collect these things. But you'll go all the way around your wall. Make sure you're not picking up, duplicating corners. Okay, and so I got all my 8-inch thick walls. Now I need these two 10-inch thick walls, so I'll start my command again. And change my label to the 7'10" by 10-inch. And my unit. Oh, that's not showing up down there. Anyway, okay, so now I need my 10-inch thick walls. And so with this one, we went from here to here. And then here would be outside to outside. Okay, and so I look to my markups list here. They're all on my walls layer. They've all got a default depth of that. And what we've got here, oh wait, that's footings. I went too far up. Guess I could filter. Nah, I'll just collapse. Okay. So if you look at, here's an issue with the linear measurements. If you do a total, because we use the same takeoff tool, the footings and the walls are considered the same subject because they're a linear measurement. So we won't get a total length of those things unless we filter. And we can certainly do that if we wanted to. But let's, look at these. And so let's look at this one here, 2'2" by 7'10". So 2 foot by 7 foot is 14 square feet. We add in a little extra for that. So this tells me that it's only picking up one side of the wall. So if you're doing this for, actual quantity takeoff, you just got to remember, that's only one side of the wall. If you're doing form work, you need both sides of the wall. So you'd have to double it. Okay, so that's got those things. Look at my notes. Okay, so next is going to be our slab. And so now let's come to our slab and make it the markup layer. And then hide the walls. Oh, before I hide the walls, I didn't show you this earlier, but you can move these labels if you got one in the way. So you select it, and then you can, grab one of the handles and pull it up out of the way. Okay. And sometimes when you go to trying to draw or select things, that it certainly helps to do that. Okay, so let's turn off visibility of walls, and our slab is going to be our active layer now. And we go back to our toolbox. We're going to use this 4-inch pour tool, and I'm going to keep the color the same. I think this is 3,000 PSI. I'm not real sure about that. I'm just working from memory here. I know the garage slabs are different. And if we check our units, it's a 4-inch unit, 4 inches thick. Okay. So if it were different, you'd want to make that change. And so now you just go through and you pick your corners. There's a little bit of a lag while it's refreshing the screen. And when you get to the last point, you can either come back and click on your starting point again, or just hit the enter key. All right, and so that fills our, tells me the cubic feet, blah, blah, blah. And so let's look at it here. Okay, so the width and the height is going to be the overall size of it. Let's grab a calculator and just double check that. So we've got 1359 square feet times 0.333, 452 cubic feet, 453. Okay, so I guess they use something other than 0.333, but that's where we are with it, so that's good. If we look at these things, the length, I believe that will be the perimeter going around it. So if you were needing to take off formwork for a slab, or in our case, expansion joint material, that would be that quantity. Okay, so that's got the main part of the building. Now, we're not taking out any voids in this exercise. You can certainly do that. I'm not going to show you how to do, these footings. These, you remember these walls were like 2 foot something, 2'6", 2'9" tall. I don't remember. And this having a sloped floor has a little bit different way of dealing with it over here on our pour. Okay. But I just want to show you how to do this for the main part of the building there. And so now we've got that done. So let's save our file. Okay. And then down here in our markups list, let's go to the summary page, and let's export it as a CSV file. And you can, give it another file name if you need to, where it's going to go. And we're going to go markups and totals. Okay. And the rest of these are fine. And so we'll go OK. And it exports it to an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. And so in here, now you got to understand what you're dealing with here, because if I look at this row here, that's the totals for the 4-inch pour. Well, we've only got one of them. Okay. The footings, I've only got 3 isolated footings. So those values would be good. So I know I've got 14 cubic feet of footings, 19 square feet of surface area on the top. These width and height measurements don't do me any good, because if you add, they just don't help me any, okay? Because that's not a calculation of it. You could certainly take these values into a spreadsheet, like the one that you were using back at the beginning of the semester, and you can put those values in. Now on these, like these linear measurements, it's calculating the length, and we know the width is 1'8", and so I could go 1.667 or 668. No, that's not right. 1.67. Oh, it goes 4 decimal places. Okay, so let's stay with what they're doing. Okay. And my height is 8 inches thick. And then I could use a formula here in the volume to calculate my volume. So I would go equals and choose the length times, the depth is already calculated here, times the width. Okay, and so that would tell me that that footing across the back is 70 cubic feet. And I don't need height there. Okay, and so I could, copy that down. Huh? Oh, it's not copying. Oh, it is. I'm missing right here, I'm missing my width. And so go down to those, and in these last two, are going to be 1.8333. Okay. And then I could certainly insert me a couple of rows here. And let's go ahead and insert a row here just to separate those things out. And I could go in wall footing totals. I could, if I don't really need the difference in those things, I could come right here for my overall length, and I could go auto sum. I'll be sure I don't get, that 384 there. So I got 192 lineal feet of wall footings. And I could do the same thing here. So I could take that one and I could Control C to copy it and Control V there. Okay, so that tells me I got 214 cubic feet of concrete. So that's just a way that you can use this to deal with concrete takeoffs, okay? So that's going to wrap up the concrete part of this. If you got questions, send us an email, come see us in the lab. We'll work with you on it.